Hi, Peter, and hi to everyone. I'm Murray Bockhold. I've been dealing with all of you who are receiving this for a very long period of time, originally going back 12 years. And you don't know me, and you've just heard about me or received an email from me or a letter in correspondence. So I just thought this time I would reply in a video so that you can see who I am. There's, I don't know, a handful of people, like on your board of your commissioners, there's 3 people there that do know me. Warren and Jim Kershaw, Doug Sepla, he just arrived. So anyway, that's the idea, is to just give you a chance to find out who I am. The other reason to do a video is so that this is documented. You've received, obviously, back a few years ago, we did a documentary, The Relentless Pursuit of Justice. So in a sense, this is sort of a short form part 2 of that, to bring people up to speed with what we've learned since we did that documentary. In a short history, it's not nearly as sophisticated a documentary, but it does document it. And like we did with that documentary, this video will get released on March 2 at PDAC, unless all of us do the right thing and decide to sit down and hammer out how we're going to attack this beast and come up with a solution that works for everybody that's involved in it.
The other reason is, and I'm taking a page from President Trump on this, who's very familiar with this whole topic because Trump media was hit by short sellers just back before the election. So he's very up to speed on what this whole issue is about, because this issue is a global issue, as you know. So the other purpose in doing the video is that this can be the basis of a social media campaign in the event that we can't reach an agreement amongst us, which is my hope. My hope from the very beginning and throughout this entire process, which is now 12 years in the making. My hope has always been to come, and my intent has always been to come from a place of integrity, come from a place of goodwill and good faith and honesty, and all the virtues that I admire in people I work with, in the friendships that I have, and all the things that I've not been able to find in this story because so many people don't have those qualities. And this story has done a wonderful job of identifying those people. So it's sort of become a story of, dark versus evil, or good versus evil, or the David versus Goliath. There's any number of analogies you can use. But the March 2nd is PDAC, as you know, and the intent would be to get all parties together before that, as was discussed in the letter I sent to you on the 6th, so that we can all develop a plan. And this is something that we have been seeking. And I want to make a point. If I ever use the word I in this, that's a mistake, because it's we, and I'm going to try to never use the word I, because the we is an amazing group of people. And it all started, it started way back, but the real turning point was just after I signed the minutes of settlement for a very bad agreement that I was manipulated, and as I now know, manipulated into. And I've realized that that meeting Terry Lynch and Danny Guy was a turning point in this, because I, having been in the industry 39 years, learned about something I had no idea even existed. And you're talking me, having been in the business 39 years, and I've been a compliance officer, and I've been a board member, and I've been a director, and I know the business. Well, I thought I knew the business, and I found out that I didn't. That there's this thing called fail to deliver trades, and spoofing, and baiting, and algorithms, and I just always operated on the assumption that when somebody shorted a stock, they went and borrowed it, because if I ever wanted to short a stock as a broker, I had to go to the loan post and borrow it. And if I couldn't borrow it, I couldn't short it. So I just thought that's the way it worked all the time. only to find out that's actually not the way it works at all. And so sadly, we found out that Canada is actually the primary enabler of short selling globally. And once I learned that, the three of us, together with the BIM committee, who have done an unbelievable job, unbelievable. You know, the amount of effort, all of us, you know, writing, talking, doing documentaries, just unbelievable the amount of work we put in. And all of us have been rebuffed all the way along, 12 years. You know, the first time I came to the BC Securities Commission was, met with Romolo and everybody back in 2013. And I guess at this point I should probably also say that two things. All of this information is all available. Everything I'm going to talk about today is all documented. It's all filed in the court, BC Supreme Court. And so it's all public. And I have to give, again, full credit. There's been this series of events that have happened that have kept us in this. And and that court hearing that we had on the application to get discovery rights and document production, Justice Walker and I, it was amazing. He took me and walked me the horse to water, and I did the same thing with him. And so we both walked and we both met at the same stream and kind of went, oh, so there is a different way to attack this thing or approach this thing. I've been coming with a rose in that, cooperative spirit, completely rejected. Well, it's switched now. I've got a hammer, and there you go. I used I. We have a hammer, and we are the victims that have suffered from this debacle called naked short selling. And the victims are everywhere. They're your neighbor, the person across the street, the person in Europe. There's victims everywhere because this has become a rampant problem. And because of the conflicts of interest, there is it's a problem that nobody wants to solve, but has to be solved. And there are just so many conflicts of interest throughout it. And when I presented to Justice Walker, I gave him, just a sort of let's frame this with six things that are framed. Number one, conflicts of interest. Number two, very large scale product liability issue. The scale is way beyond talc baby powder because the scale actually goes to government, particularly the Canadian government, goes to the 4 accounting firms, goes to all the Canadian banks. They've all been party to this. The documented evidence that we've provided, which is now 350 exhibits, probably 6,000 pages, they've all known about. As a matter of fact, the BC Securities Commission, Brendan Leong, Peter Brady, supposedly the commissioners at the time back in 2016, but certainly the Minister of Finance, Bill Murnau, who is now also on the CIBC board. In 2016, they were all told about the Waterton fraud, breach of the criminal code for usurious lending, rates of 1,000 and some odd percent, and 277% for another loan, and 77% for another one. They were given the net proceeds of mineral. They were given everything. No reply. Oh, that's not true. I got a reply, but the reply was, it's not in our jurisdiction, and a whole bunch of excuses. And, similar story that has emerged many times over. So thank you very much, Justice Walker, for empowering us, the victims, and giving us the strength to be able to take this to a different level. Of all the institutions or the places we've been involved, we've gone to regulators, our self-regulators in Canada, all of them. We've gone to all of the victims, the benefactors of Waterton's scheme. We've gone to all of them. I mean, we have literally gone, the legal firms, we've literally gone to everybody asking for their cooperation to resolve this. and there's only 2 parties that have actually responded, and that was the DOJ. And the DOJ, we first, Courtney from DLA Piper gave a wrote a presentation, gave it to the DOJ. We got a response in I don't remember exactly, Courtney, but it would have been, you said it was the fastest response you've ever received. It was within a week, something like that. Gary Winters comes back with, can you send me the spreadsheet or the network, the Waterton network spreadsheet? And so we did. And within a matter of weeks, we arranged to go to Washington for an interview. That got stalled, so we ended up doing it in March. But that was the effectively alleged organized crime network of Watertons. Well, now, whatever that is, 2018, so many years later, 7 years later, that network is probably, I don't know, I haven't counted the numbers. I know there was 86 people that received an email and a letter, a very important letter, on November 21st before my hearing, which was originally scheduled for the 22nd and 23rd. And of those 86 people, which includes Prime Minister Trudeau, the Deputy Prime Minister, Provincial David Eby, it includes everybody, all of the heads of all of the PwC, the big 4 accounting firms. It's all listed, it's all evidentiary, it's all posted as an exhibit. And all of those people were asked to provide me with an affidavit to go into court to say, you have understood that there is a fraud, and I asked you to try to help me by just giving an affidavit and saying, yes, court, we are party to this. We know it's a fraud. We know it's a legitimate fraud. And yeah, alleged fraud. I'm supposed to say alleged fraud. And fine, I'll switch the language to alleged because the court hasn't ruled on it yet. I'm not worried about defamation because the defense for defamation is the truth. And we've got lots of evidence of truth. Anyway, the point being that all of those people effectively became complicit in this massive fraud, alleged fraud. They all became complicit because they all knew about it and they all did nothing about it. I didn't have one person honor my request. Not one. I didn't even get a reply from anybody other than some of the people that know all about it. Sure, they replied. But the people I was asking to help, who I've given all this evidence to, all of us have given all this evidence to, all this factual evidence, didn't even reply. Didn't even reply. The Prime Minister and the Deputy Prime Minister and Peter Eby, they've known about this for, I don't know, going 3-4 years ago, they first heard about it. Bill Murnau, 2016, Peter Brady, Brenda Leung, you name it. They've all known about this for a long, long time. So much like Sandy Riley and Hartley Richardson, who had 77 partners come to them when we did the merger with GMP, and all tell them that this isn't fair, you're hurting your own partners. No, they heard us and then they ignored us and said, well, it's too bad. And that's the feeling we get now, is we've all spoken, we've all spent tremendous amount of time and energy. You cannot say there's no basis for plausible deniability. None. You've all known. You've all chosen to do nothing. Whether that's a conflict of interest, whether you've been bought off, who knows why, I don't know. But this is our last opportunity, because there's going to be an earthquake in Bay Street on March 2nd at the PDAC Developers Conference. I'm in control of that. Our group is in control of that. I'm the one that's being sued by CIBC to get the balance of the money that I supposedly owe them. So in fact, I am the one in that specific I is me, because I'm the one that gets to file that counterclaim. But we can expand that counterclaim. We can expand it very large, actually. And we will be doing that because we have opinions now on class action lawsuits. But I want to just go back for a second to this liability issue, because The product liability side of this is a very key aspect because of the scale and because of who knows about it and how long they've known about it. So the government of Canada has known about this since 2016, and they have chosen to do nothing about it. PwC has known about it. As a matter of fact, PwC wrote the report that was the report that went into the bankruptcy court that said that Waterton never even lent the money that their statement of claimed they lent. So how is a bankruptcy court dismiss a lawsuit where the statement of claim is false? They double counted $3 million. Or better question after that, how does a judge, Judge Zive, release dismiss a bankruptcy and have a statement from the Nevada Tax Bulletin posted that every company has to produce every year that the Borealis mine in the year of bankruptcy made $72.4 million. Now they made $72.4 million, and that's what its tax return says. If that's not what it made, then the state of Nevada is misreporting to their constituents what their tax revenues are. If that was made, well, then obviously it shouldn't have been in bankruptcy, and it wasn't bankrupt at all. So that's just another example of the many things in this story that don't add up. So I hope I'm sort of getting to the, at this stage, everybody understands that this is a far-reaching issue. Every accounting firm, let's just go back to E&Y for a minute. E&Y, again, has known about this for a long time, multiple times, multiple exhibits of communication with them. And what was their response? They cut me off. Well, so did the BCSC, so did this Ontario Securities Commission, and so did CIRO. They all basically filtered, restricted conversation. Not only is allowed to talk to the top person, he's controlling the distribution of information. Doesn't smell right, does it? Well, it's not. So EY, think about this. EY is known. EY is the auditor for all three, TD Bank, CIBC, and CIRO. So are they conflicted? I think they're conflicted. Are they doing the right job? No, they're not. No, they're not doing the right job. No, they should be. And each of the accounting firms all runs one of the banks. We went to them 3 times saying, hey, you need to recognize there's a problem here. There's a problem in CRA reporting. There's a problem in bank earnings reporting. Like their cost of goods sold is nowhere near what they claim it is. So as you go, the legal firms, everybody's got a role in this. And the goal now is to have everybody fess up. Put your cards on the table. I'm going to put mine on the table on March 2nd, along with Terry and Danny and Sahid and all of us who are victims that we've all started to discover are all victims of the same alleged crime. We're all putting our cards on the table. So everybody else that's involved on the other side, you have to put your cards on the table. And you can choose. It's your choice. You can choose the side of good and integrity and all the aspects that we all should be aspiring to, or you can choose the side of evil and dishonesty and mistrust and manipulation and all that. That's your choice. Make a choice. But know a fundamental thing in this, and that is the difference between a threat and choice and consequence. So a threat is something typically people manipulate. People who manipulate, they use threats. People who use choice and consequence, they're empowered because they have facts. And when you have facts and you have evidence, that is not a threat. That's a choice and consequence. That is not a manipulation. So this is not a manipulation. And we would ask that the Department of Justice and President Trump step in, and honestly, our RCMP should do the same thing. I don't have the confidence that they will, but for a bunch of reasons. But that's our ask, is let everybody decide. And then the ones that decide they want to stay as defendants, then go after them. go after them hard because they deserve it. And this is about enabling bad behavior and people getting away with it for far too long with far too many dollars at stake because there are so many dollars. Funny thing. So go after them. Set an example. Set an example on Bay Street and set an example on Wall Street because Wall Street's guilty too. So I think we'll close there. Ask you all to think about that. Give it thought. Make a decision. You have until March 2nd. And we're going to post this at YouTube, give you a link. You can come in and look at it. It's not public. It'll be there. And if we have to release it on March 2nd, we'll release it on March 2nd. And absent that, and absent us sitting down, whether it's a royal commission or how we want to address this, we all got to put our heads together because there's no playbook here. This has never happened. There is no playbook. We have to create a playbook. So put a bunch of smart heads together and come up with a way to approach it. And let's solve it. We'll leave it there. Thanks very much.